Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Sarah Massler-Donar. A newly proposed bill would allow clerks in Wisconsin to process absentee ballots the day before the election. Right now, they can only be processed on Election Day. Advocates of the bill hope it could lead to a lower chance for late-night vote swings, which have happened when large batches of absentee ballots are added to the results. Results still wouldn't be released until after the polls close on Election Day, though. The proposal would require communities using central count locations like Milwaukee, Janesville, and Beloit to begin processing absentee ballots on Monday for spring and fall general elections. Here with me now is the Rock County Clerk, Lisa Tollefson. Thanks for taking some time to be here.
Not a problem.
For those who aren't familiar with the absentee ballot process as it stands now, how does it work for municipalities at this point in time?
So at this point in time, there's two options. Nothing can be processed before 7 a.m. on Election Day. Most municipalities will process those ballots at their polling location, along with all the voters that they're processing, to get their ballots and vote their ballots on Election Day. There are some municipalities that will use a central count location where they send all their absentees to one location and process them there, but they still can't start until 7 a.m. on Election Day.
Janesville and Beloit utilize a central count location. So how would the proposal affect how that works for those municipalities?
So those municipalities would be counting. So let's say for the April spring election, they would be counting they would start processing their absentee ballots on Monday. Again, they would finish up the last of those that would come in on Election Day. They wouldn't tabulate those machines until the polls close. The results would come in much sooner, about the same times as the polls are closing with their processes and sending results approximately at the same time.
The ballots couldn't be counted until after the polls close, but what tasks could be complete before that?
So they can review all of the ballots to make sure they're looking to make sure there's a voter signature, a witness signature, witness address. They're doing all of that verification. They're going to open it. They're going to write a number on the envelope, the voter number, and they're going to put it into the tabulator. But the tabulator's not counting anything. It's just taking in the ballot and holding it. On election night, when they are finished, they're going to do a total, and then it's going to do all the tabulations.
How do you think finishing earlier would affect the way Wisconsinites view their election results?
The way that elections work now, and the fact that we can't open them till 7 a.m., you'll see, just for example, in 2020, we had 53,000 absentee ballots in just Rock County. Trying to get those all processed in a timely manner is a huge feat. Larger counties have even more. And you can't start working on those till 7. It could take hours and hours to go through all of those different wards and organizing and reconciling and keeping track of everything. And they can't send those results until everything is done. So you're waiting for those large numbers to get completed before they can even take them to the clerk's office at the county level and load them into the system to show. So it looks like they're not working on it, but it's such a huge process they can't even release them until it's done. And that's a huge piece. Starting earlier, they'll get the results earlier. I believe there'd be less questions.
And that leads me into my clarifying question here. Do you think this could restore or improve voter confidence in the elections?
I think it probably could. Because at that central count location or at that absentee processing on Monday, they can have observers there also. So the observers could observe the absentee and they can observe the polls on Election Day. 2 different times they could have more people observing throughout the entire process. It should make it more transparent.
How have clerks been working to make elections more transparent, that process more transparent since the 2020 election when there were questions that arose? Obviously, there was no evidence of widespread fraud in 2020, but just for peace of mind for voters, what have clerks been doing since then?
We have been encouraging people to come and be observers. Come and watch the process. We've had a lot of people who have questions, and we invite them to be poll workers. The best way to learn the process and understand everything we do is to help at the polls. And I can tell you that next year we're going to need a lot of poll workers. So anyone who is looking to be a poll worker, contact your municipal clerk. We're going to be busy next year.
Election season in Wisconsin begins in just a few months. Should this bill become law right in the middle, maybe ahead of the November election? I know that's a bit of speculation here, but I want to ask, if this bill becomes law before the election, would it be difficult to implement for clerks?
Well, it looks like they have in the bill, it looks like they have to give a 60-day notice that they're going to be using the Monday processing for their location. So they would have to know ahead of time. So it's not going to be a spur of the moment decision. So the sooner we get election laws changed before an election, the longer time we have to implement them and have all our ducks in a row before election day comes.
And is 60 days enough time?
So the deadline to turn in a referendum is 70 days before an election. So it could be interesting.
Is there anything in the bill that you think could be tweaked or changed to make the process even more efficient or better?
I've been reviewing it and I haven't quite figured out the little quirks and turns yet. There's some things in there I wasn't expecting, so I'm trying to work it through in my head as to how we would put it into place. I will let the legislators know when I see something that might help it out a little bit.
Lisa Tollefson, Rock County Clerk, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you.